So you seen Haitian Jack wearing Tupac jewelry after Tupac got shot at Quad?
They're calling it the most chilling clip to resurface since the Quad nights. An off-angle, grainy recording that some claim shows Haitian Jack talking way too freely about the darkest chapter in hip-hop. Allegedly. We're not saying it's real, we're saying khabrein ye hi keh rahi hain. A late-night hangout, music low, glasses clinking, and a voice, reported to be Jack's, dropping lines that sent the internet into meltdown. Within minutes, fans were shocked, timelines exploded, and old wounds tore open as people whispered, "Did he just admit it?" On camera, emotions ran high. The community was split. Some said it's edited. Others swore it's the smoking gun they've been waiting on for decades. Meanwhile, insiders claim old friends went silent. Label veterans ducked calls, and family members of fallen legends felt that familiar ache of 1996 all over again. One thing is clear. The streets are buzzing, the whispers are getting louder, and every frame is being dissected like a crime scene. Is this the clip that rewrites the narrative? Or just another rumor crafted to ignite chaos? We'll break down what's in the video, what's missing, and why the people closest to the story are suddenly so quiet. They say the clip dropped out of nowhere, uploaded by some anonymous page that vanished an hour later. In it, a man with a familiar face sat in a dimly lit room, laughing over stories from what he called the wild 90s. His hands moved as he spoke, sharp gestures cutting through the smoke hanging in the air. The voice, rough and casual, spoke about a night that changed everything. And that was enough to set the internet ablaze. Fans flooded comment sections, dissecting every blink, every pause, every smirk, convinced they were watching history confess itself. The tension was instant. Old heads from the scene started calling each other, asking, "You seen that clip?" Insiders claimed certain names went off the grid within hours. Phones turned off, lawyers on standby. The timing of it all made it worse. It dropped right after a new documentary reignited debates about betrayal.
There's a rumor that you told Pac not to hang out with Haitian Jack, but he didn't listen.
Well, I told Pac, man, I say, I don't know if I think you're out of your league right now. You know? Because he had asked me about Jack. You know, and I had known Jack through school there. And
betrayal, loyalty, and how deep the industry's shadows really run. Some viewers swore the man in the video said too much, that he slipped, that guilt leaked through the cracks of his grin. Others said it was clever editing, chopped up to make him look like a villain. But whatever it was, people couldn't look away. The setting of the clip added to the mystery. It wasn't flashy, just a small lounge, faded curtains, an old painting behind him, and music playing low, like someone trying to drown out secrets. One person claimed the video was shot during a private party in the Dominican Republic years ago, and that the person filming was a friend turned enemy. The rumor spread faster than wildfire. Did this man know he was being recorded? Or was this the biggest setup in hip-hop gossip history? Because if you believe the chatter, he was relaxed. Too relaxed, speaking freely about nights with Pac, about what really went down at Quad, about what had to be done. Again, allegedly. Nothing proven. Still, the phrasing in that video, "had to be done," echoed across platforms like a ghost haunting every discussion. Interview 2:22:43 fans were torn apart. One side said it finally confirmed what they always suspected, that there was betrayal from within, that Pac never stood a chance. The other side said it was pure manipulation, another attempt to rewrite the past and stir drama for views. Either way, the emotional storm it caused was real. Artists posted cryptic messages. Old friends of Pac reposted old photos, and forums lit up with theories so detailed they read like police reports. One self-proclaimed insider claimed that the original tape had more footage, including people in the background whispering names. Others said the audio was enhanced, and words were added that weren't there before. Everyone had a version of the truth, but no one had the full tape. What made the whole thing even wilder was the silence from the man at the center of it all. No statement, no denial, just a calm shrug through mutual acquaintances saying, "He doesn't care about gossip. But silence is fuel for rumor, and the gossip machine doesn't sleep. Soon, a second clip surfaced. Blurry, shaky, filmed from a different angle. It looked like someone tried to zoom in on his face as he laughed about the game taking care of its own. Again, vague, but loaded. People took screenshots, slowed it down, ran it through AI filters to enhance what was said. Every upload got millions of views before being taken down. Copyright claims? Maybe. Or maybe someone wanted it buried. In the middle of all this chaos, former industry insiders started chiming in. One ex-bodyguard claimed that during that era, certain conversations were never supposed to be repeated, especially not on camera. Another said there were private gatherings where old stories got told, sometimes too openly, when people felt safe and drunk enough to drop filters. According to him, this wasn't a confession. It was nostalgia twisted by editing. But for fans, that line blurred long ago. People wanted closure, and closure is a dangerous craving when mixed with conspiracy. Then came the alleged leak from an anonymous source, claiming they had the full, uncut footage. Over 2 hours long, they described scenes of laughter turning to tension, a voice in the background saying, "Yo, cut that off," and the man replying, "Nah, they know already." The internet went into frenzy. Hashtags exploded overnight, influencers jumped in, and even long-retired journalists began revisiting their old notes. If true, it meant someone within the circle had betrayed him again. Just like the old days. Poetic or tragic, depending on who you ask. And as the world watched, those who were actually there back then, producers, promoters, neighborhood legends, reacted with visible discomfort. One even said in an interview, "There's stuff better left buried." Others pointed fingers quietly, suggesting that maybe this was a calculated distraction from another story brewing beneath the surface. But every attempt to calm the noise only amplified it. The alleged clip had already become legend. Memes, parodies, think pieces. Every timeline was split between outrage and fascination. And behind all the chaos, one truth remained. Whether real or fake, people believed what they wanted to believe. That's when things started getting personal. The families connected to those old events began receiving calls, messages, and even interview requests. Some said they were tired of reliving the trauma. Others wanted justice, or at least acknowledgement. A cousin of one of the original crew members said, "We don't know what's true anymore, but we know something was wrong back then." Every word added more gasoline to the fire.
Calculated words.
Pac was all good when I was doing good things to him. Until we caught that punk case that was easily could have been beaten by both of us. He let his attorneys turn him against me. And that's the part that I'll never forgive him for, because if I'm gonna ride or die with you, homie, I expect you to do the same. See, that's what I call a fair weather friend. Everything's good when everything's good, you know? But as soon as we catch a punk case, right? You start telling me, "Oh, I can't."
Gasoline to the fire. Fans demanded the authorities reopen old files, while conspiracy threads linked the resurfaced footage to ongoing investigations, claiming new evidence was about to drop. Truth or fabrication, it didn't matter. Once a story catches the world's attention, it becomes its own reality. And in that moment, the man they called Haitian Jack, once the symbol of mystery and danger, became the internet's latest obsession. Some painted him as the puppet master, others as the scapegoat of a never-ending saga. The irony? Through all the noise, he stayed silent, letting the storm rage on without a word. But in hip-hop history, silence speaks louder than denial. That silence is where the myths live, and once again, the line between legend and confession blurred beyond recognition. As the story gained momentum, every major blog, gossip site, and hip-hop commentary channel jumped on it like vultures circling fresh prey. Thumbnails with red circles and captions like "caught on tape" or "admitting it all" flooded feeds. The words Haitian Jack were trending for the first time in years. And with that came a flood of memories that most people thought were long buried. The internet has a way of resurrecting ghosts, and this time it felt personal. Fans weren't just curious. They were angry, nostalgic, emotional, and divided all at once. Old school heads who lived through the East and West Coast tension took it as a sign that the universe was finally revealing what had been whispered in alleyways for decades. Younger fans treated it like a dark urban legend, finally getting its final chapter. The video was replayed in slow motion on live streams, with commentators pausing every frame. One podcaster even claimed to have analyzed the background audio and discovered someone saying, "He didn't mean to do it." That single phrase blew up across social media. Was it a confession? A joke taken out of context? Or someone playing God with audio files to create a new scandal? People couldn't agree. Another content creator dropped a reaction video, tearing up as he said, "If this is true, then Pac was right all along." The clip pulled millions of views overnight, but then something strange happened. Accounts that posted the original footage began getting deleted or locked. Copyright strikes, takedowns, all within minutes of going viral. And when you mix mystery with deletion, the public only believes it more. Interview 7/59/8/26. Behind the screens, insiders whispered that the footage might have come from a private archive belonging to an old industry associate who had recorded everything during the 90s. The idea alone sent chills down people's spines. "You mean there's more?" One journalist said on live radio. "If this is only part one, imagine what's still hidden." The rumors evolved faster than anyone could keep up with. One said the full tape included unseen moments between Pac and certain executives. Another claimed it showed conversations about the Quad incident from multiple angles, as if someone had planned to document it all back then. But again, no proof. Just fragments, gossip, and obsession. In the midst of the frenzy, an old friend of Jack's surfaced anonymously online, claiming to have been in the room when the recording happened. According to him, it wasn't a confession at all. He said it was a bunch of old heads reminiscing over drinks, telling exaggerated war stories from the streets. "Man, we was talking nonsense," he wrote in a comment thread, people adding meaning that wasn't there. "We were laughing, not confessing." Yet, the problem with rumors is that once a story catches fire, it doesn't matter who tries to put it out. Every denial sounds like guilt, and every silence sounds like confirmation. As the tension spread, people started connecting dots that maybe weren't even dots. They pulled old interviews, old mugshots, and archived articles to prove that this was all part of a bigger cover-up. Some even claimed that the resurfaced clip was a warning from someone inside the industry who wanted to expose long-buried secrets. A famous vlogger said, "There's no coincidences in this business. Someone wants this story out now for a reason." Within hours, hashtags like Jack Tape and Pac Truth trended worldwide. Fans lined up theories that read more like scripts than reality, each one more dramatic than the last. While all this unfolded online, the man himself reportedly stayed off the grid. Some said he was spotted in the Dominican Republic. Others swore he'd flown to Haiti the day the clip leaked. Paparazzi tried to get statements from anyone who ever mentioned his name, but every lead turned cold. One interviewer from an underground channel claimed to have reached out to his camp and got a cryptic message back: "You can't film a ghost." That line alone became a viral soundbite on TikTok, turned into music samples, remixes, and memes. Meanwhile, people close to Tupac's legacy felt the weight of it all. One family friend said, "It's like losing him again." Others said the footage reopened scars that never really healed. Younger fans, who only knew Pac through his songs, now watched in disbelief as their hero's story twisted into yet another internet mystery. "How many times are they gonna bring him back just to tear him down again?" A comment read, echoing thousands of others. And through all that noise, old acquaintances who once partied with both men started sharing memories. Some painted Jack as misunderstood. Others called him the smoothest manipulator they ever met. One said, "He could charm anyone, man, even Pac, especially Pac." As if the chaos wasn't enough, a third version of the clip leaked, this one shorter but clearer. It showed the man saying, "He was young, emotional. We all did what we had to." That one line reignited the frenzy. Every entertainment outlet jumped back in, dissecting tone, lighting, even the way he blinked. Did he look regretful or proud? Was it a slip or a confession crafted with intent? Nobody agreed, but everyone watched. Theories emerged that the person who filmed it was now missing. One tabloid even claimed an anonymous source linked the disappearance to powerful industry figures who didn't want the truth getting out. Others said that was pure fantasy. Still, fantasy sells. Throughout it all, the story began to transform from gossip to modern folklore. People started creating timelines, matching the man's rumored trips with major hip-hop events from that era. One user on Reddit even built an entire digital map, showing where each alleged conversation took place, connecting it all like a detective board. It looked convincing, too convincing, and soon enough, casual fans became self-proclaimed investigators, digging deeper, spreading speculation disguised as evidence. The media cycle had found its next addiction. But while the internet analyzed every second of that mysterious footage, the man's old associates, especially those from New York's underground, started speaking carefully. They hinted that certain names weren't meant to resurface, that too many people had too much to lose if the old truths came out. One whispered on a podcast, "People think Pac was the only one betrayed that night. They don't know half of it." That single sentence sent chills through listeners, and within hours, fans flooded his inbox demanding details. He never replied. The obsession reached a new level when people began claiming the clip was cursed. Creators who posted it said their accounts were flagged or mysteriously shadow banned. One even said her hard drive crashed right after uploading it. The drama turned supernatural for some corners of the internet, as users treated the footage like forbidden knowledge. Still, the numbers didn't lie. Millions were watching, discussing, and believing. What started as a grainy recording had evolved into something much larger. A legend reborn, untouchable, unstoppable, and more divisive than ever. The more people talked, the darker the story became. What began as a mysterious video had turned into a storm of accusations, half-truths, and emotional chaos that refused to die down. Talk shows were debating it. Radio hosts were shouting over each other, and bloggers were feeding the fire with exclusive sources, who all seemed to have conflicting memories. One even claimed to have spoken to the person who supposedly filmed the footage. According to that anonymous insider, the recording wasn't meant to be public. It was insurance, something to keep people quiet back in the day. That claim alone flipped the internet upside down. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from, "Did he say it?" to, "Who leaked it and why now?" The narrative changed overnight. Some believed a rival crew dropped it to destroy what little piece the man had left. Others swore it was an act of revenge by someone close. Maybe a family member tired of living under the shadow of old crimes. The tension was thick. The stakes felt real. Journalists called it the most chaotic moment in hip-hop gossip history. Interviews resurfaced of Tupac talking about betrayal, trust, and snakes in the grass. Fans replayed those clips side by side with the leaked video, convinced it all connected. Once again, the line between memory and myth disappeared. What made the situation even more intense was the sudden involvement of a few major media outlets that usually stayed away from hip-hop scandals. A late-night news anchor called it the resurfacing of the past haunting modern culture. Within hours, that phrase was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. People used it like a slogan. Even celebrities chimed in. One veteran rapper posted, "This the problem with recording everything. Cameras don't lie, but editors do." His comment alone sparked a new round of debates. Was it a confession, manipulation, or a modern witch hunt? As the frenzy built, emotional reactions grew raw. Pac's fans flooded online forums with anger and heartbreak, posting old lyrics that suddenly sounded prophetic. "Trust nobody" and "loyalty is rare" became rallying cries across social media. The drama turned generational. Young fans accused older ones of protecting the guilty, while old-school supporters argued that the internet had no right to rewrite history with unverified clips. The conversations went from thoughtful to toxic in hours, and every opinion added fuel to an already raging fire. But something shifted when a journalist from a small independent outlet released a new claim, that the original clip was part of a much longer interview recorded for a defunct documentary project. The footage, according to her source, had been sitting in storage for nearly 2 decades. The filmmakers reportedly abandoned the project after receiving threats. This revelation reframed everything. Suddenly, it wasn't about whether it was fake, it was about who kept it hidden for so long. Why now? Why leak it in 2025 when the world's attention was already on other controversies? People demanded answers. As the story expanded, new twists appeared daily. One blog claimed an ex-producer who once worked with both men had mysteriously disappeared weeks before the clip resurfaced. Another posted supposed email leaks from anonymous accounts, talking about someone selling footage for a 6-figure amount. Nothing could be verified, but every rumor found an audience. The uncertainty made it irresistible. Meanwhile, fans tracked down every public appearance the man ever made, scanning his interviews for hints, contradictions, and slips of the tongue. They said he always smirked when asked about the past, that he never denied certain claims directly. For conspiracy lovers, that was enough proof to label him guilty in the court of public opinion. Then came a twist nobody expected. A different figure from the old circle, a promoter from Brooklyn who once called both men brothers, broke his silence on a podcast. His voice trembled as he said, "Look, I ain't defending nobody, but I was there." Things got messy. People said things they can't take back, and cameras don't always show the whole room. He didn't name names, but when pressed, he said something that made the entire internet freeze. Let's just say, some of the people yelling the loudest now, they ain't innocent either. That one line reignited every theory. Fans dissected who he meant. Names trended, and hashtags multiplied overnight. In the background, a few lawyers started making moves. Takedown notices hit major sites again, while entertainment insiders whispered that legal teams were quietly reviewing the footage's authenticity. But once something hits the web, it's impossible to bury. Mirrors of the clip popped up on dark forums, encrypted drives, and fan pages that refused to delete it. People felt like they were watching forbidden history, something not meant for their eyes. One forum user said, "This isn't about truth anymore, it's about control." Interview 16, 50-17, 04 The storm continued, emotional fallout hit everyone involved. Old friends from the era started arguing online, blaming each other for reopening wounds. One former collaborator went live, nearly in tears, saying, "Pac was family. I can't believe people still playing with his name for clout." The comment section filled with heartbreak emojis, accusations, and nostalgia. It was messy, human, and painful to watch, yet people couldn't turn away. The same pain that drew them to Pac's music now drew them to the drama surrounding his memory. Meanwhile, footage from the leaked clip kept evolving. Digital experts tried to analyze voice frequencies, claiming to verify whether the voice was real. One lab said it was consistent with known recordings. Another said it was edited beyond accuracy. Nobody agreed, but every headline used words like shock, bombshell, and revelation. And every night, millions refreshed their feeds, looking for the next piece of the puzzle. The past had come back to life, and no one seemed ready for what that meant. As days turned into weeks, the chaos refused to die down. What started as a late-night upload had now spiraled into a full-blown media storm, swallowing everyone connected to it. Documentaries were being pitched, podcasts released emergency episodes, and old associates were dragged out of hiding to give their side of the story. Every outlet claimed to have the truth, but the truth kept shifting, bending under the weight of emotion, money, and memory. A rumor floated that the man at the center of it all had finally agreed to speak. Within hours, every blog ran headlines like, "Exclusive interview coming soon." But when the date arrived, the interview never aired. The reporter later claimed she was advised to drop it. That phrase alone, advised to drop it, lit up the internet again. Who advised her? Why? The silence was deafening, and the questions only multiplied. Meanwhile, another clip appeared. This one shorter, clearer, and even more haunting. It showed him looking directly into the camera, saying softly, "Everybody thinks they know, but none of them were there." That single line became the new obsession. Fans slowed it down, reversed it, analyzed the background noise, desperate for hidden meaning. Some said you could hear another voice whispering just before he spoke. Others said it was a trick of the mic. One popular theory claimed the clip was part of a larger confession that had been chopped into fragments to manipulate the narrative. Still, the emotion in his eyes, real or not, left people stunned. Even those who called it fake admitted it carried a strange kind of weight. The families connected to those old days couldn't take it anymore. One of Pac's close relatives released a statement saying, "We're tired of reliving this pain every few years. Let him rest." The post went viral, shared by artists and fans alike. But even that couldn't stop the train. Human curiosity doesn't rest. If anything, the plea for peace only made people dig harder. Every new claim created 2 more theories, and by the time mainstream outlets tried to fact-check, the internet had already moved to another angle. Some creators insisted the footage was part of a bigger cover-up, that it was leaked to distract the public from the upcoming trial of another figure connected to that era. Others said the timing was too perfect, that it was revenge disguised as nostalgia. As the noise grew unbearable, one old-school journalist decided to revisit the story from the beginning. In a long editorial, she wrote that the whole thing wasn't about guilt or innocence anymore. It was about legacy, about how people choose which parts of history to believe. She described the clip not as evidence, but as a mirror showing how hungry people still were for answers they might never get. Her piece struck a chord. For a moment, people paused. The tone across social media softened. Fans began posting old Pac lyrics again, not as proof, but as tribute. The energy shifted from accusation to reflection. Even then, the mystery lingered. Behind closed doors, insiders whispered that a deal was being discussed to sell the original footage to a streaming service. The price, they said, was enormous. If true, it meant the video that began as an alleged leak was about to become a commercial product. The ethics of it all set off another round of arguments. "They're turning tragedy into content," one user tweeted, while another replied, "That's all anyone ever did." Yet despite the outrage, everyone admitted they'd still watch it. Curiosity always wins. Then came the final twist. A small independent outlet uploaded an unreleased clip showing the cameraman's reflection in a mirror. The man holding the camera looked nothing like who everyone expected. People froze. If the cameraman wasn't who the rumors claimed, then who had staged it? Was the entire thing fabricated? Comments flooded in. Maybe he was framed. Maybe this was all payback. Maybe we were all fooled. Within hours, the video disappeared. The outlet's page was wiped clean. Some said it was hacked. Others claimed they got paid to take it down. No one knew for sure. The story, once so loud, suddenly went quiet. But quiet doesn't mean over. It just means people have taken the conversation somewhere else. Private groups, encrypted chats, late-night live streams where voices are disguised and screens go black mid-sentence. Every few days, new insiders appear, each claiming to hold another piece of the puzzle. Some share blurry screenshots. Others post voice notes with distorted audio, all feeding the same endless cycle. The clip has become more than a video now. It's a legend, a ghost story passed down in digital whispers. And through it all, the man at the center of it remains silent. No interviews, no clarifications, no anger. Just silence. Some call that guilt. Others call it wisdom. Maybe he knows the truth no longer matters. Because in this world, stories live longer than people. And as fans keep replaying those shaky frames, analyzing shadows and echoes, one chilling thought keeps resurfacing. Maybe the real confession was never about words, but about the way history keeps repeating itself in whispers, lies, and the hunger to know what can never truly be known. And that's where it all stands. For now, a grainy clip, 1,000 theories, and a silence that speaks louder than any denial. What really happened in that room? Was it a careless conversation twisted into a confession? Or was the camera catching a truth that was never meant to see daylight? Nobody knows for sure, and maybe nobody ever will. But one thing's certain. The echoes of that night still haunt hip-hop's history like a wound that refuses to close. If you've made it this far, you already know this story isn't just about one man or one video. It's about the power of rumor, loyalty, and betrayal that never dies. So tell us what you think. Was it all a setup? An edit? Or do you believe he really said more than he should have? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because the debate is far from over. Make sure you hit that like button. If you want us to keep breaking down stories the big outlets won't touch, subscribe so you never miss the next update when new footage, new witnesses, or new leaks come to light. Turn on the bell, because in this story, every second matters. Until next time, stay alert, stay curious, and remember, in this game, nothing stays buried forever. Nothing stays buried forever.